was a little kid, I really loved listening to music, listening to my mom and dad's records. And when I was like 4 or 5, I think my mom and dad figured out that I had the knack. So I started taking piano lessons. So I was studying at Northwestern University from the time I was about 5 years old till I was about 15. Got a really thorough grounding in classical music. And I remember saying to my folks, I'm done. I just want to kind of hang out and be a teenager. And so that's what I did for a few years. But then I went back to the piano on my own because I started playing along with records. So I started playing a lot of blues and boogie-woogie when I was like, 17, 18. And I became, I guess, pretty proficient at it. Started playing in clubs. And then I started to listen to jazz. It was just sort of a natural progression from blues and boogie-woogie to jazz. Then I went off to Boston. I went to study at Berklee College of Music, and I studied everything there. Harmony, theory, private piano, ear training. And I went back to Chicago to kind of figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I saw in the newspaper that Chet Baker was going to be playing at the Jazz Showcase. So I called a few friends and said, hey, we really should go to this. He's amazing. He's a legend. And we all went down to the showcase. And of course, I was kind of bold. And I went right up to Chet Baker and introduced myself. Oh, and of course, I brought a stack of Chet's records, and I had them under my arm. And I said, excuse me, Chet, my name is Bradley Young. I'm a jazz pianist and a great admirer of yours. Would you mind signing some of these records I brought with me? And he said, sure, where are you sitting? So I pointed to our table. Yeah, man, I'll be over to your table in a few minutes. So I went back to my table, and literally a couple minutes later, he tapped me on the shoulder, and I looked up, and he said to me, Bradley, would you like to sit in with us? Our piano player is running late. Would you like to play a couple of tunes until he gets here? So that's how it started. I went up there, played a couple tunes, hanging by, a thread for dear life. And we became really good friends. And then when he went back to Europe, I used to call him from my parents' landline. They were not very happy with me. Anyway, when he came back in 1986, I went back down to see him again at the Jazz Showcase. And after the gig, I asked him if he would like to do a record, and he said yes. And 2 days later, we went into Tone Zone Recording Studio in Chicago and recorded the tracks that were finally released in 2009 on Enja Records called Chet in Chicago. Bringing this story up to date, I live in Los Angeles now, and since moving here, I've been blessed to work with some truly amazing musicians. I'm touring with my band, playing some of my original compositions, as well as some of Chet's favorite tunes. And there's a bit of storytelling, of course. Sharing a few anecdotes and reminiscences about some of my slightly bizarre adventures with Chet. So far, the audiences seem to be really enjoying it. I hope my music continues to touch, move, and inspire people. And I believe music has the power to do just that.